Muslim organizations and opposition parties in India are fighting a new law on how properties donated by Muslims are managed in the country. The government says the WAQF Amendment Act will help to reduce corruption and mismanagement. But it's stoking tensions between Muslim communities and the government. Petitions challenging that law have been pouring into the Supreme Court, and a hearing is scheduled for next week. Rebecca Bundan reports from Mumbai.
This more than century-old mosque in the heart of Mumbai is just one of hundreds of thousands of properties in India which come under the Waqf system. The mosque is a pillar of the local Islamic community, carrying out social work, providing education, and even stepping in to help to resolve disputes between locals. But its imam's views echo those of many critics, alleging that recent changes to the Waqf law on how such properties are governed are a threat to his institution and undermine the rights of the country's 200 million Muslims.
तो इस हिसाब से जो इन्होंने अमेंडमेंट्स लाया है उसमें 2-3 ऐसी चीज़ें हैं कि जिसकी वजह से ये वक्फ की जो प्रॉपर्टी है वो मुसलमानों के हाथ से निकलकर गवर्नमेंट के कब्ज़े में चली जाएगी और गवर्नमेंट जो है वो उनको ही इसमें पूरी तरह से अथॉरिटी देगी.
Waqf buildings are endowed by Muslims for charitable or religious purposes, and they're not meant to be sold or used for anything else. Islamic schools, graveyards and orphanages are often part of the system. The government says that there are more than 872,000 Waqf properties in India, worth an estimated 1.2 trillion rupees or $14 billion. This means that Waqf boards are one of the country's largest landowners. Many of these were donated through verbal declarations, and they've been a part of the community for so long that they're widely accepted as Waqf properties. But under the new law that went into effect this week, the boards which manage such buildings and land at a state level need to come up with valid documents. Properties also have to be registered under a centralised database, and 2 non-Muslims must be appointed to each board. The government denies that it wants to control Waqf properties. It says Muslims stand to benefit.
वक़्फ़ का जो पैसा होता है, इनकम जो गिरती जा रही है, जिसके माध्यम से माइनॉरिटी का विकास करना है, माइनॉरिटी को आगे बढ़ाना है, इस्लाम धर्म की सारी धार्मिक संस्थाओं को पुख्ता करना है.
The government says that it will create much-needed transparency in a system that has been misused by some people. Legal experts say that a regulatory overhaul was needed, but they question the new law.
There was a need to bring in a structure of governance of Waqf which at one end strengthened the autonomy of the religious minorities who manage the Waqf properties, but at the same time gave specific and concrete legal safeguards against maladministration. That is something that we find missing in the current law.
There have been widespread protests in response to the reform. It was passed by the Houses of Parliament following hours of fiery debates. Opposition parties, including Tamil Nadu's Dravidian Progressive Federation and Kerala's Indian Union Muslim League, along with Muslim organisations, have filed separate petitions in the Supreme Court challenging the amendments as unconstitutional. And critics who accuse the Modi Hindu nationalist government of trying to marginalise the Muslim population claim the reform is part of that process. The individuals who run this mosque say they welcome greater transparency, but they desperately want to see the new law changed to assure them that the Muslim community won't end up ceding control of properties like theirs. Rebecca Bundan, CNA, Mumbai.